I'm Kirsten.
Hi, I'm Sasha.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And this
This
is Mess.
Mess Magnets. We're back, baby.
Oh my God, I completely forgot my cue. Here we are. Wow.
No, I love it.
I was like, great, I'm going second.
This is perfect. We're here. We're back. And Matt was here recently to talk about Survivor. And we literally, I think, might have manifested this.
We were like, there's nothing for me to ever
today.
talk about on this podcast. We had to invent a topic that made sense, and we made it make sense. But then, what, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later? I don't know. Yeah.
Like, you hear it's because I didn't get to talk to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
The universe needed us back together.
It's because like we were on the pod and we were like, there is stuff that Matt, like, you're an expert in, like a lot of this Bravo stuff and all of that. And then boom.
And honestly, this was kind of kicking off a little bit around then. When I was looking back on some of it this past week, Scally and I were talking about it. And the first post that I ever saw that I think was a Dumois post about the idea, by the way, sorry, we haven't even introduced the topic yet, about these two having been together, was at that point 25 days ago. So we're getting close to like a month ago that this was really kicking off.
Well, I think people didn't think it was real. So
yeah,
I think that this is why it's perfect that we have you on now to be the expert to go through all of this. So I think if anyone has been on the internet in the last 48 hours, they have seen that there is major summer house drama. There's a person named West. It's impacting Sierra, who we know from the Traders. And we just have to get into everything that's going on. So we brought on Matt, our summer house expert, to really break down this whole scandal and why you should care about it.
Yes. Also, we're on YouTube today, so if you want to watch, you can go to Mess Magnets. And I know it's according to Reddit, and I'm just kidding. Irregular, but
it is
like that. Yeah.
And what about us?
Exactly.
What about it?
If you were a true messenger, you know that's the brand. I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh. All right. Anyway, yeah, Matt, please take us on this journey, because I only know Summer House Martha's Vineyard, so
which would love
Sad.
To get more of, but obviously that's been put on pause, aka it's done.
It's gone. It's
well, I guess I want to start with like I don't want the exact title of Summer House expert, just because I know that there's people that have been watching the show since day one. And for me, with a lot of Bravo shows, this one included, I have jumped in recent years. So I think this is my third season watching live, I believe, after having binged all the others. So fully caught up, obviously, but I'm sure there's somebody out there that would be, I don't know, whatever. I'm happy to be here regardless. But this is all crazy. And Kirsten, like you mentioned, of course, we know Sierra from the Traders, just for anybody that doesn't watch Summer House. But also people might have forgotten, Kyle Cook also was on the Traders season 1.
I couldn't.
People said that recently. And I said, no, that can't be right. I don't remember that.
I said it must have been Canadian Traders.
And you would remember if you went back to watch it. He was Cody Calafiore's ender, is how I describe him on that season. He was the one that clocked Cody. I think Kyle then got murdered because Cody was like, well, I have to get him out of here. He's saying my name. And then Cody got at that round table.
Wait, so do we like him because he ended Cody Calafiore, or is he?
I mean, we'll talk about all.
Not like Kyle. Yeah, I was like, I know that much because I'll be in the Bravo streets from a distance sometimes.
Yeah, but like, I mean, regardless, with Kyle, with Sierra, I just feel like a lot of these names. I guess Kirsten, it sounds like West is a new one to you, but a lot of these names are still pretty big just to have heard them at some point.
No, this is like I've definitely heard about all of these people, and especially with like the Amanda like divorce situation. Like I had heard a lot about that, but Summer is one of those shows where like every time I talk to a friend of the pod, Tori, she's like, Summer House is the best show. You have to watch Summer House. And then I just like don't get to it. And then I'm relying on other people to fill me in because I haven't put in the time and hours that I should be putting in.
That's
for
fair.
This
and
apparently
maybe at some point, and I will say, I feel like for me personally, having done the binge for a lot of it, there were definitely times where things kind of slipped out of how good it was or how whatever. But I don't know. We're at a point right now, obviously, with this latest scandal, that either will completely end the show, which is entirely on the table to me, or will revitalize it. And this is like the best that the show is going to have been in quite some time. So whichever way that goes, it's going to be a show that you will definitely continue to hear more about. All of this said, before we get into it, they haven't filmed the reunion for this current season yet, so that's still to come. If you or anybody out there wants to see this play out in real time, truly, you could just jump into the reunion of this upcoming season. Probably like a month and a half, 2 months out from getting to watch that. I think they're filming it in like 2 weeks. And it's going to be crazy because these stories, these headlines have been all over the place. Where do we start? Just at the top?
What is the girl code issue?
I think before we even get into the girl code issue, I think we need to set the stage for how Amanda's even available to be involved in this. Because again, I don't know a lot about Summer House, but the one thing I know is that this Amanda woman was in a very bad relationship for a very long time. She still married him even after he had cheated on her. And then that broke early this year, where she posted like a joint announcement that they were getting divorced. I don't think the divorce is even finalized.
I don't believe so. Yeah, Kyle and Amanda from day one, basically on Summer House, have been an item. Summer House is currently on its 10th season, if I'm looking at this chart correctly. And Kyle and Amanda, they're from day one. Amanda becomes a full-time cast member in season 2. And then I want to say it was like 4 years ago at this point, that they finally got married. And I say finally because they really did drag their feet in the relationship a long time before they got to that point. And they've continued, obviously we know that now they are divorced or divorcing, or they're separating. But they were also dragging their feet on like, what's next for them? Conversations came up of like, do we want kids or not? What are we doing with our careers? And even along the way, I guess one of the big points for Amanda was that in somewhere in that journey, Amanda went through a really deep depression that she was struggling a lot with. And Kyle, I don't remember like the details of like how supportive or not he was, but like that was going on while both of them are heavily involved in Loverboy, which that's Kyle's alcohol brand company.
Yes. Which is not making money, correct?
That's the word on the street, is that maybe it's not doing great. And Amanda's been a big part of that. And like, that's been like their business that they've been working on together. She's a big part of the Loverboy business. And so they've had that, but also just to cut further ahead into recent years, Kyle's been DJing. And in like one of the more recent episodes, Amanda has a line where she says, I didn't marry a DJ, but somehow I've ended up married to a DJ, because that's what he's been doing lately. And she is not really in love with this life for them, that he's going out late and he's out at he's sleeping over fans' apartments, which has been like pretty firmly confirmed that happened at least one time, and that made like big headlines, and that was a big thing coming into this season. But you guys again have said that you saw everything about the divorce, and that's what happens before any of this here today. So yeah, it's a crazy place to start. That seriously, they're finally getting separated. They're finally splitting up, which if you watch this current season, it's all building up to that. It's that the relationship troubles are too much for them to handle. We gotta cut this off. I guess where Sierra can kind of come into this a little bit is that, and I was just watching this week's episode earlier today. Sierra is such a supportive friend. She is such a girl's girl. She's down, like the girls on this show have been so close. A good amount of them, maybe not everybody at all times, but Paige, of course, Paige and Hannah both come from Summer House, the Giggly Squad girls. And Paige and Amanda, Sierra, Lindsay Hubbard, they've just all been really good friends over the years. Some tiffs along the way. But this season, we've seen a lot of Amanda's struggles with her relationship with Kyle, and Sierra's been there for her. Like they drove to the house together. She's like, whenever she hears a story about Kyle did this, Kyle did that, she like wants to go get him and be like, what the hell is wrong with you? But she reins it in a little bit to not cause more trouble for Amanda. And just like the headline of all of this here, that of course we're leading up to, is that Amanda divorcing Kyle, and West, who is somebody who's had a extenuous will they, won't they, I guess, kind of relationship with Sierra, have now confirmed that there is something going on between them that has been rumored for like a month now.
It's okay. It's so wild. So I was also listening. Ready to Be Petty did an emergency main feed podcast about this as well. So I was listening to that to prepare myself for this. And so I'm kind of like, I want to ask Matt's perspective on some of the things that got brought up. So the first point is like the first like thing that came out was someone had submitted to Dumois that they saw Amanda and Wes like holding hands under the table. And this is where everyone thought it was fake. Like they thought that she was just going out with Wes to like meet guys to date because they're friends. And then also West was described as like, because I gotta tell you, I just found out what this man looks like yesterday. And the fact that all of this is over a man that looks like that is crazy.
You know what? I'll step in there because I feel like I might have agreed with you at the beginning, but I think I was trying to figure out a way to explain it. I think the best I can come up with is like, you know, when people become island hot on Survivor, or like by the end of a Big Brother season and you're looking at someone a little bit differently, maybe because you just spent 99 days with them. I think that's where maybe I'm at with West, because I mean, I think a lot of people would be lying to themselves if they said that they've been watching West for 3 seasons now and don't find him attractive. I know it's not everybody, but I'm in that boat. And obviously this kind of colors that a little bit. So maybe we're not there anymore. But that's just kind of my perspective on that.
Yeah. And the way that he was described by Tori was basically like, it's very much giving what these like West Coast bros are like, where they've got like a carabiner on their jeans and they seem in tune with their emotions. And so you kind of like get
and
this
he's got good politics,
like,
and that like that helps. And
you're like, this person is different. Like they won't screw me over like other men have in the past because they like act differently. But then it's like they all end up, it's just like a different font of fuckboy kind of situation. And so like, I'm sure he has game and that there's a reason why like multiple women are interested in him. But I just, from the photo I saw of him yesterday, I was like,
yeah,
it's over this.
You were saying about that they were spotted together, and that's what the rumors were for this entire time. It's been, oh, this person saw them together, this person saw them at Amanda's apartment, this person saw them here, and they seemed like they were too close. And even if you watch the show sometimes, like they have moments of interaction where like you can see that there's just like, I don't know, I mean, look, all these people are like really good friends. A lot of them have been filming together for a long time, and West and his fellow newbie at the time, Jesse Solomon, have both been in the mix with this group for a long time now. And something that I said earlier in the season, I went on Michael Horn's podcast and I was saying, look, all of these people are young and horny and all they want to do is touch each other. All of them, every single one of them. So the fact that like this random ass pairing just showed up of this person and that person, even though one of them was just married and the other one was crushing on this other one, it doesn't surprise me, but this is still absolutely insane because on the side of West and everything here is where Sierra again comes into the mix. Sierra's not just a supportive friend for Amanda. Sierra and West were an item to an extent. In the first season that West was on the show, there was feelings there. There was a vibe there. There was something going on. It didn't end well. West was going on podcasts talking about how Sierra, they weren't actually together and just like not speaking of her super nicely, super kindly. And even still to today, like that comes up between the two of them of her feeling a certain type of way about how that all went down. He's apologized. It seems like they've been in a better place on the season that's currently airing, but she's also been very vocal about a lot of aspects of why this has been so tough for her. Not just because, oh, it's a guy that like, you know, messed with my emotions, but she is a Black woman on this show with usually a bunch of white people. And she started to develop a crush on this white man. And the way that she's been perceived by a lot of people is she got played by a white guy just on this show. And people come at her as a Black woman super hard for all of that. And she opened up about that in a recent episode, just about how like, that's really been hard, and it's not a perspective that the white cast members are really going to absorb as much. There's 2 new cast members this season, KJ and Mia, that are both Black, and really I think have been helping her along the way to kind of have other people share that, yeah, there's more to this than the rest of you may be aware of. And everybody seems so supportive of that at the time. But what some people were saying is like, even in that conversation, it was like, West, do you really understand what this is, that this is more than just like, oh, you and her had a fling, and like this is more serious to her. And they've been in a place throughout this whole season where they've been a little flirty again. And it's weird because there's a little bit of a love triangle with Jesse Solomon as well. He also finds Sierra beautiful and attractive and wants to spend all of his time with her. But what the big problem, I think, out of all of this is, and what Sierra's been reposting things about, is that him and her have had this whole thing that, you know, they've liked each other. There's been feelings, there's been attraction. But he's always kind of like had a guard up for some reason. And now all of a sudden Amanda's available and Amanda's interested, and he's ready to put out a public statement alongside her that there's feelings there and there's something more going on. But that was never really seemingly on the table for Sierra. It was just, I like you, I want to spend time with you and maybe hook up. And so there's definitely complicated dynamics that go into all of this, but that is kind of, and I'm sure I'm missing many details, why everyone that I would say has the right opinion on this is comforting Sierra and you know, leaning, wanting her to lean on the community and being there for her, whereas everyone's like, fuck Amanda, fuck West, this is crazy.
Wow.
It's just so wild.
And are Amanda and Sierra friends, right?
They were. That's a big
okay.
thing that's happened. They have seemingly unfollowed each other. People, I think, have been theorizing that Sierra just blocked Amanda, hence the Amanda unfollow. I think she also did the same to West. So they, again, we're good friends. Sierra's been supporting Amanda all season along this divorce route, this journey that Amanda's been on. And then Amanda did this.
Bro, it be your own people. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that feels like so egregious to just like out of nowhere snake the one person, or not one person, but the person that is like closest to you, at least on the show. Because I'm sure she has other friends IRL, but at least in like the show world. And then to just like be so shameless.
I just like, what I don't understand the most of it all. Like, this is what is really just does not click for me. Is it's like, first of all, Amanda, you were married 5 minutes ago. Take a minute to like be single and work on your own self. Like, why are you even jumping into anything, let alone someone who's in your like sphere, let alone someone that's in your sphere and has a complicated relationship history with someone who has been talking you through all of the tough times with your now ex. Like, to me, like, my friends can have like the most attractive partners in the world. Once they become like, once that person is paired with like my friend, they're Ken doll to me. Like, there's just nothing to think about. So I just don't understand how people can sit there and be like, yeah, I'm gonna hook up with my friend's like ex situationship vibe.
And it's also like for Amanda specifically, it's like, and look, like, let me also just mention that while the speculation was happening of like, is this a real thing? And I feel like some people might even still be at that case. People were like, oh, is this an April Fool's prank? And hey, it's April 1st. And, you know, no prank being announced here. It's just like, it was so hard to believe that this is actually like a thing that is happening, that, you know, it's been a lot of the debate of, is this real or not? And Amanda, I think when you look at it from like a PR standpoint, from like well, what would her agent tell her that this is the best move right now? She was in a good spot as far as like the way that this story was developing with her and Kyle. Everyone saw that Kyle was a jerk. Everyone saw that Kyle wasn't the right person for her, wasn't a great partner. And that like, as they were getting split up, or as they were splitting up, it was like a lot of people were taking Amanda's side and being like, good for her. She's gonna, you know, move along in life, find someone better, find something better, and be okay after all of this. But now it's just completely flipped, and it's on her. It's her own doing that she and West, who also was like a darling of Bravo fans in general, just a complete 180 and just completely finding themselves in this self-created position of, now people are fuming and coming for you and don't want to see you on anything and don't want to see the good things. I mean, people still want to see the drama, but again, they just like put themselves in such a crazy position, and it feels like this was all preventable. It feels like if this was going to be the reality, that they were going to fall in love with each other, they could have found a better way to go about it and announce it, or I don't know. It's just, it was all messy and so rude, especially to Sierra.
And from what I've heard, is it seems like specifically Amanda and West are two of the people on the Summer House cast that are like less okay with not being loved by the public. Like, they're definitely two of the people who, like, obviously no one wants to receive hate and everyone wants to receive positive feedback, but like, they're maybe the least well equipped to handle when people don't like them. Is that true?
I would say that they just are two people that have never really had that come their way.
Oh,
So like a
that's
lot of other people
fair.
are just more used to it. I mean, Kyle's used to people like saying that he's a good for nothing and an asshole and all this stuff. So like if this was happening to Kyle, yeah, he would get it. Lindsay is a big controversial person. I mean, she's one of the fan favorites, but she's always got something going on. So she's taken plenty of heat before. Carl's taken plenty of heat before. But I want to say that, like, unless I'm forgetting something for Amanda, that in her 10 years on this show, I think this is her first like major moment. And look, she's had plenty of people coming for her because of why are you still with Kyle? But like, that's, I don't know, she's had Kyle to lean on, and that's been a little bit different than coming for her directly. So yeah, it's definitely, I would say, new for both of them. And West is still a newbie in all of this, even though he's been a couple seasons around. But I'm telling you, this reunion is gonna be crazy.
Yeah. And I'd also seen a rumor that like West and Amanda had planned to officially announce their relationship like the day after the reunion films. I don't know if there is any basis of fact in that, but if so, that's insane.
I mean, that would be smart, right? So you don't have to like talk about it at the reunion. You get less vitriol because people stop caring after the reunion. But again, you snaked your best friend's man.
I am curious, like, Sasha, how much of this for you having, well, I get both of you obviously observed Sandoval like super closely. I think you guys both did a podcast about it. Like, how much of this to you feels like they're just trying to recreate that?
For me, I mean, again, like I think I was more deep into Sandoval than all of this, or Scandoval. But I do feel like sometimes people are just terrible. And sure, you know, the caveat of their reality stars, right? So there maybe is some version of we need to ham it up, a la Sex Lives of Your Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So many shows.
It's the way that Sex Lives of College Girls and Secret Lives of Mormon Wives become combined in my brain every time.
No, literally. So to me, it's almost like if we're gonna go that route, it's like that a little bit. But I don't know. I personally have been in a situation like this where someone like would stay on the phone with my man after I'd hang up, and then they ended up dating. Well, he was never my man, let's be clear, right? Because he was never mine to keep. Trash. So that's why I think I'm more like feeling like it's real, because shitty people exist and people just do fucked up stuff like this.
Yeah. I think it's just I'm finding it to be a little bit of both, that it's become clear that this is a real thing. If they at some point rip the Band-Aid off and say April Fools, then I mean that's not going to make it any better.
That girl was not on her knees at the Birkin store, that picture. Or Hermes, sorry. Even like, well, Birkin is Hermes. Store for this to be fake.
No, to me, if it's fake, what they want is what's been going on for the past month of like speculation. Maybe someone sent something to Dumois. There's like a question. Oh, is this happening? What's going on? But the second they actually post a joint statement to confirm that they're in a relationship, which by the way, 2 joint statements with 2 men from your cast within 90 days is crazy work.
A joint statement in general with someone that you might have now been like seeing for, you know, a couple of weeks, a couple of months at most. I get that they're cast members, but like it was the whole way that they rolled it out was like designed by the worst PR manager you could ever imagine.
Yeah. Well, it was just ChatGPT, let's be clear.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing where I'm like, these people are acting so dumb and as if they've had no media training, that I'm like, well, it has to be a real relationship. And I don't think it's probably like that serious, but I think it's one of those things where when you are in a situation where you've kind of like screwed people over and it becomes big news, like you either are going to break up right away or you're going to cling to each other way longer than you would have otherwise, just to prove like, oh no, I was right. Like this was fine. And I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of discourse online that they do not think that West is going to be riding for Amanda like that. Because wasn't a big part of the Sierra situation that like he's getting notoriety and he wants to be like available and open.
That was, yeah. I mean, it was him telling Sierra that basically he wasn't ready to like settle down, and he wanted to be young and have fun, and so he was doing that for the entire time since he first connected with Sierra. And even lately, it's been a lot of like, but I still have feelings for you, and like, maybe there's still something there. But again, that all of a sudden now Amanda is available, and Amanda says that she's interested, that he is seemingly willing to cut out the rest of whoever else is trying to get at him, and say, I'm good with just myself and Amanda now, when you weren't like that for Sierra.
Well,
this
you
whole
have
time.
no choice. This feels like.
I'm sure
You're
he'd
screwed.
be fine if he went out into the world and he was
Oh
not with
yeah,
Amanda right
into
now.
the world. I just mean, in their
Yeah.
summer house group.
Well,
Yes.
You know what this reminds me of? Also, below deck, this stuff happens
Oh.
where they hook
Mhm.
up, but then they'll like turn around and be like, "But I wanted you the whole time, but you have a boyfriend, so
Yeah.
I have to, settle." This literally happened on this most recent season where this guy literally like kisses this girl, is like all in on her at a night out, and then will like, and literally was texting this other girl, their roommate. So hooks up with one bunkmate, texting the other one, being like, "Well, if you didn't have a boyfriend, I'd drop her like hot potato just
Oh
to,
my God.
be like a weirdo with you, blah, blah, blah." So that's what this also like. Again, the small, like a very benign version.
Yes.
But it's just that's why I feel like people are just that shitty.
Yeah, and I will say, Kirsten, you mentioned an emergency pod. I've seen a couple of emergency pods pop up, and if anybody else is looking for more information, I'm sure again there's going to be some stuff left out here. But when you really just like, even if you're not a Summer House fan, you're kind of getting an idea of who the main players are, the main characters are here. Listen to all of these things, and you'll be caught up. I don't know how long this story is going to stay in the spotlight. I mean, probably at least through the reunion, which is probably again going to be crazy if I haven't said that enough. But it's hard to say what the next thing is for this group, for this show. This is a show that's already felt like it's somewhat on its way out, just because the older cast members that are now were in relationships, some have kids, some this, some that. A lot of people are leaving. Paige is not on this season, who was a big part of the show for so long. We just don't know what it's going to look like going forward. There's a spinoff that is coming that is called In the City, featuring Kyle, Amanda, and Lindsay as the three leads of the show. Kyle and Amanda presumably still together at the time that they filmed this show last summer. So even after this season of Summer House airs, we are still expecting to get In the City, another show with more lead up of watching why these two did not end up working out. So it's just too much of that. And I think the only thing people want to see now is what's going on right now. So whatever that is, whatever show that ends up being on, I'm sure Bravo will have the cameras rolling, but it's just
get the cameras rolling. I did also see on Reddit that like there's rumors that perhaps Amanda had actually cheated on Kyle with West like last summer, and so I wonder if maybe that will end up being a plot point in whatever this In the City spinoff
Kyle
is.
put out a statement apparently supporting her, so.
But I get the impression that's what he always does.
Oh, yeah, fair. Like he just stands behind her.
I mean,
Stand up.
and now watching him in all of this has been even crazier, because again, he was the a-hole who was, being a bad partner, and that's why Amanda, they were splitting up, and people were taking Amanda's side, and now he's just like, it's West and Amanda getting all the heat. Sierra, obviously, the internet putting their arms around her as much as possible, and Kyle's just off in La La Land, like, well, everybody come to my shows, and people are probably going to come to his shows. So.
Well, and I feel like Amanda was in a position of like, and like people were embracing her, wanting to take care of her. She's like the wounded bird archetype. She was probably in a good position to get a call for like Dancing with the Stars, I feel, after
Something
the like Kyle stuff. And now I feel like that is totally off the table because of her own choices. And Sierra's never been on Dancing with the Stars, right? Just Traders.
No.
So hopefully they call her now and she gets that arc and she can go be on Dancing with the Stars, and then she can be on Chicago on Broadway, and she can now get that whole kind of path. kind of like what Ariana had the access to after Scandival. Like,
but you better
that
have a good PR. Call up Ariana's people, bro.
Yes,
Sierra,
please.
come on.
I mean,
Because
our trainers castmates are taking advantage of like not taking advantage, but they're all jumping on top of like posting Boston Rob, Wes.
Why is Boston
I
Rob
saw
posting
Wes
a picture
post-
that says Team Sierra? I'm like, do you even know who anyone else involved in this is? Boston Rob.
It's
Wes
like they
was
didn't believe
we're friends still.
right. They're
shut
like
up,
they're like
Wes.
putting themselves in it just to be in it. Like they didn't believe that like Sierra was from like a reputable show or anything, and now all of a sudden they're like,
Yup.
oh, I know her, that's my friend. And look, Summer House, I guess, did slip a little bit off of like the map of, you know, I don't know how much it was on the map at the beginning for like this far into like pop culture, but it's obviously there right now, and I would not be surprised to see Sierra. And like, this is so crazy to be talking about this in this way, but like we know this is how the industry works, to be talking about like, well, what's Sierra going to get out of all of this? And hopefully it's a lot of good things, but it's just like that's what we just saw happen with Scandival. And to bring it back to that, this, you know, I saw Brian Cohen, I think, lay this out in the best way that I've seen of like why this is not Scandival through his tweets. That was a very different situation, more factors going on. This is, I don't know, I can see where the comparisons come in, but it's
no, for this to be Scandival, it would have had to have been Sierra sleeping with Kyle while Kyle was married to Amanda. Like part of what makes Scandival so like gut-wrenching and horrible is like how many years they had been together, and they had built a whole life together and owned a home together, and like we're very much in a vibe of like, oh, it seems like they found their person and they're gonna be together, and it obviously had problems and wasn't perfect, but like it seemed like they were really committed to each other. And then the floor just completely falls out when she sees the like screenshots on his phone.
And in
right?
her house, they were doing dirt.
Yeah.
So
Kyle and Amanda were
it's just like
here, so
it's like, and I'm not saying that to say that what Amanda did is okay by any means. It's not, and I don't side with her. I just don't think it's like at the critical mass to be as like bad as Scandival. But I think like the people yearn for Scandival, and so it kind of gets blown into even more.
It's the closest thing that you can find to something at like the what the heck just happened level that is. So yeah, I mean, it definitely could get a similar amount of attention as it goes on. We'll see what the reunion brings and all that stuff. And just like, I don't know, the continuous posting on social media of whatever people are posting, resharing, people putting out more statements and statements and statements. So I feel like the flames are going to continue to be fanned for as long as, I don't know, they can. Like all of these people's PR managers and whatever are going to say, you know, make this as much as you can. Even for Amanda and Wes, that are obviously, you know, not getting love for this by any means, they're probably going to find it overall a net positive to have had this level of exposure.
Yeah, I'm also already starting to see some like brain dead people online being like, no, why are people being so mean to Amanda? And it's like, yeah, Amanda deserves to lose a brand deal. Amanda deserves to suffer for this a little bit at least.
So
it's
ridiculous.
Crazy. So yeah, and not even just like for the, you know, Sierra, West, Amanda, Kyle of it all. I think a lot of it that is going to be tough for Summer House fans to, I don't know, figure out what happens next is, again, a lot of these women's relationships, a lot of them had some good friendships from the show. Like Sasha, I think, was saying, like, maybe they weren't like best friends, but at least through the context of doing the show for as many years as they were, and just relying on each other in such a high stress environment under the public eye, that it did seem like there was a big friendship there. There are a lot of people that are now going to have to choose a side, basically, from the friendships that had been previously there. So watching where all that goes from here is going to be pretty interesting. But what a day yesterday was.
Ooh. You know what? Also, Matt, do you watch Southern Charm?
I do, and I wish I didn't.
You know, exactly. So I just feel like those guys, like all of them, right? Like useless fools.
Yeah.
They should end up on Summer House because they're like 100 years old still.
I mean, I think they should just not be on TV anymore because they have nothing left to add. But I hear you. I mean, because they tried that when they did Winter House and they mixed them a little bit together. But it was just like, what are we doing? And again, I'm just over all three of those guys.
Yeah, 100%. I just mean like they're shameless. And you know what? They don't get as much hate for doing similar dirt stuff. Yeah. Where you know, they're a community dick.
I mean,
So it's crazy.
yeah.
Oh,
And they
Lord.
never want to settle down ship.
So
Many
hopefully
such
that
cases.
answered some questions.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm sure, again, there's plenty more people talking about it and plenty more things that I might have missed along the way. But it feels like the headlines of it all.
Yeah, there's a Spark Notes version for you
Yeah.
millennials.
Yeah, no, I love it, and I feel like I'm more well informed about it than I was, and like maybe this is what's gonna finally get me to do that big summer house binge.
Some people I've seen people saying like, I'm going to start watching Summer House now. And then I've seen people that are like, oh, you could skip the first 2 seasons, 3 seasons, whatever. I think, I don't know, people are going to have their opinions on that, but there probably is a way to watch the show without watching every single thing that's happened so far. In case you are someone who's like, I want to see what's going on. I want to know the people, but I don't have that much time to do it all. So we'll talk.
And I'm
Yeah.
sure someone has like actually I bet you on Reddit or something, done like here's all the, episodes and seasons you need to watch to catch up. And
Yeah.
it's like very particular
Yeah.
things. If not, someone should do it. You're welcome.
Yeah,
Free
Matt,
viral tweet.
you could put it together.
Yes.
For you two, or any messengers that want it, I'll let you know.
That's
Okay.
so nice. Oh my
Amazing.
gosh.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for
Yes.
breaking down all of the summer house drama for us. If this continues to develop in a explosive way, we might have to have you
Mhm.
back as well. But yeah, we're gonna move on to the next topics. Matt, do you want to hang out, or
Yeah,
do you need to go?
So I
Up
told
to
you that I was going to hang, but I do hear one of my cats yelling downstairs. So I think I should go check that out.
Yes.
But thank you guys so much for having me. And yeah,
Where can the people find you again? Like, do it just on, but still.
yeah, find me hopefully here again soon. But otherwise, on the Free Agents podcast, where we actually talked about this before the big news was made official on our Patreon, at least. So myself and Scally are talking about the challenge and House of Villains, but we do cover Summer House on Patreon. So if you want to follow more of that over there, and then the Diary Room, finding the best player in Big Brother history. We've had some fun episodes to start round 2 and some fun episodes coming up. But yeah, that's it for right now. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
All right, I'll see you later.
Bye.
See you later.
Oh my gosh. All right. This next thing isn't so fun, but y'all know I had to talk about it.
Did I see when this news happened and think of you? Yes. And then I was like, maybe it's bad that I think of Sasha.
No,
it's
fine. Multiple people like on Blue Sky even were like, did you see that? I said, girl, I already watched 7 videos about it. So
not 7 videos.
But it's true. Oh my, because okay, we're gonna talk about before we even get into it, we're gonna be talking about like sexual assault, children are involved. So if this isn't something again for you, if this brings up a lot of stuff, there's timestamps. We can move, just skip to the next part. There's a lot going on because we're gonna be talking about Joseph Duggar's arrest, and if again this brings up stuff for you, even us mentioning it, go to Rain, where they have a text hotline as well, where you can text HOPE to 64673 or call 1-800-656-HOPE. And make sure you're getting all the help you need. And again, you don't need to listen to this. This shit is crazy. We're not necessarily going to be talking about like all the charges. I was more intrigued by like the phone calls that have been not leaked but given out because it's all public, I guess, knowledge. So it's really interesting as to how like they think. And that's what I like kind of wanted to talk about today.
Yeah.
But if you don't know what I'm talking about, of course, the Duggars. If you ever watched TLC and 19 Kids and Counting, right? All the J names, Fundy family. We've talked about, multiple Duggars on Mess Magnets as well, but just wanted to like, give the background.
This is Sasha's pop culture Roman
Unfortunately,
Empire
yes.
is the Duggars. Like
Yes.
she's been there from day one. And so it's like anytime something comes up with them, I always think of her. And so just to place this in the like family, right? Because there's obviously 19 kids.
Yes.
So the firstborn son
Yes.
is obviously Josh Duggar, who we know
Major
has
sex
like
pest. Yes.
all of the convictions on like child pornography, and I'm not
Mhm.
sure if it's molestation or not, but like sex pest,
Yes.
sexual predator towards children, not safe.
Yeah.
And so then Joseph Duggar, is he the second son, or is there another
No,
son in
no.
between?
The second son is a twin. With,
Right.
John David. So no, he is like way later in the
Okay.
line. He's the third son, but there are a bunch of girls in between that unfortunately, again, Josh Duggar has molested. So yeah. So Joseph Duggar just is married to Kendra. They have 4 kids together. And their like thing was, I believe their courtship was like on the show on Counting On, which was, you know, the spin-off with Jill and Jessa. So again, the older daughters. So it's just, we have seen them, and Joseph was always given as like, hey, this is like the good brother, quote unquote, right? Where he kind of like Joy, Anna, and Ginger were like the 2 sisters closest to him, and they were always like, hey, he kind of like helped us navigate hardships. You know, we don't know what that means, and it doesn't really matter, but it's just they, you know, spoke about like how he was really godly and helped them, like, you know, guide them on a path, kind of stood up for them. And as much as you can, right, in this fundy world where like the umbrella of authority is like your dad, and then, you know, et cetera, like your pastor, and then God. So in that, you know, how much ever a brother or a husband can save you, you know, like that's what it was always positioned as. But then it breaks that literally on March 18th that he is arrested, and he's arrested in Arkansas, but for charges in Florida. And this is important, so we'll get into why. But basically, he is arrested for 2 counts of lewd and lascivious behavior after allegedly, you know, just molesting,
Assaulting.
assaulting. Thank you. I was like, what's the word? Assaulting a child under 10 years old. I'll just leave it at that. In 2020 in a family vacation in Florida. And first of all, why are they taking family vacations in Florida in 2020? Here we are.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna break quarantine and go somewhere, it's gonna be Florida. Let's be clear.
Apparently. So, you know, so that drops, and people are like, we are shocked that it's him, but not shocked that it's a Duggar boy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And what's really nuts then after this is I watched his like booking video, Kirsten, in Tontitown, Arkansas, and it's widely known that his dad and his family, like, you know, are chums with everyone. And it's just like he was acting like he's just going to like lunch, where they were like patting him down and all this stuff, and he's just like living, like he is literally just like smiling, you know, and just kind of being like, oh shucks, like, yeah, we're here, okay. But how did this happen, right?
Yes.
Because with Josh Duggar, they were, you know, finding the older son. They were kind of like the FBI was like, you know, tailing him, and, you know, that's how they kind of figured it out. But with him, the girl's father that, you know, he assaulted, apparently ends up confronting him about the abuse, because his 4 years later, you know, whenever like his daughter ends up telling her dad what happened. And and we're not here to speculate who this, like,
it doesn't matter like who it is or how it happened. It matters that Joseph Duggar is a creep, sex pest, weirdo freak.
And it's like, again, we're not gonna say like they even gave the details of what like kind of happened, but like I do not care to talk about it.
It would be weird if we wanted to talk about that. Like, it's like that stuff is immaterial to the discussion.
But basically, so she's now 14 and ends up like telling her dad that, you know, hey, like,
wait, she's now 14?
Yes, she was 9 when it happened.
Like, it's all disgusting.
Yeah,
but it's like, So sad.
Mhm.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's disgusting. And again, he like had kids, I believe, in 2020 already. So what are we doing here? And he had a wife to have sex with. You know, like I'm so confused. And I know that it's not necessarily about like I understand like the psychology behind it. It's just my like
It's just like our brains don't think like
yeah.
that. Like
So it's just I can't.
we would never be looking at a child as anything other than something to protect or like
Mhm.
someone to make sure that they're
Exactly.
safe, right? Whereas
Exactly.
like for people like Joseph Duggar and Josh Duggar, and there's just they think of children in a way that the children should not be thought of.
Yep.
It's so fucked up.
It's disgusting. So anyway, so she's now 14, ends up telling her dad. Her dad like confronts him. And the police actually were on the phone while he was confronting Joe. So
Mhm.
because of that, he like ends up admitting to that what he did. But here's the thing, I think, and it's speculated that he admitted to it because the way it worked for Josh is like he admitted it. They like, sent him to that like Bible camp, like to be like, okay, you're
Mhm.
all good now. Everything's fine. You're safe. And now like you're reformed. So I wonder if that's what like Joe thought was happening. But this dad was like, hell no, you're going to jail, bitch.
Yep.
So that's what ends up happening, like where he had the, detective was on the line, according to the affidavit. And he then ends up, right, like going. But the thing is, this is not in Arkansas, right? This happened in Florida. So it's
Yeah.
a Florida jurisdiction. And in Florida, this is actually a life sentence.
Okay.
Mhm. So that's why I think it's really interesting. And that's why people are like, oh, it's not going to be like, how kind of Josh Duggar sentence I felt like was a little bit light.
Yeah.
This is like, again, allegedly from what I have read online, once he was extradited to Florida and all of this, but it seems like it's a harsher, penalty. So let's see
Yeah.
what happens. Like I don't trust no system to help.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Hopefully it does. So then what happened is because of this charge, Arkansas has now charged him and his wife with a whole separate 4 counts
Oh.
of endangering the welfare of a minor and 4 counts of false imprisonment.
Okay,
And
wait. And is this
Yes.
related to the same?
no, it's not.
What?
And exactly, which is why I want to talk about it, because I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So basically what happens is they end up like taking because of the nature of his charge, of
Yeah.
Joe's charge, they have to do kind of like a home visit. And when they do a home visit, these fundy families, especially the Duggars, this is like a known thing.
Yeah.
They actually put locks on the outside of the doors for the kids.
One, they should not be doing that.
Yeah. So besides the blanket training, this is just another thing that we know that they just do. So that is why they're charged, because it's 4 counts, because one for each kid.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not with an asterisk from currently what we know. It seems like it's just in connection to that, not necessarily like in connection to hopefully him harming his children in any way. Kendra like wasn't there when they went to go pick her up, because they all live on the Duggar compound.
Yeah.
But instead they were just like, okay, just leave the thing and we'll go, just like leave the sentence or the serving, sorry. But then somehow she turns herself in. She's released on $1,000 bond pretty immediately. So that's why I felt like, okay, this is not a big charge. This just seems like,
Yeah, it's incidental. Like he's charged with a crime against children, and so as a result, they have to do a home visit to make sure that their kids are okay. When they get there, they're like, you're not allowed to lock your kids in their fucking room like that.
Correct. So then what ends up happening is then fine. Now he is actually already in Florida, and they live streamed like his hearing. And long story short, he's already released on bail, which some folks were saying they were very like confused. Why? Because Florida has changed their like laws to make it harder for people to get bailed or released. But he had a bail of $600,000, and his dad, of course, paid it. So they had to obviously pay $60,000. For folks that don't know, it's not like the full amount. And his dad was like seen, going on a plane to Florida. Of course, they won't pay their kids for TLC, but they will pay, to get you out of jail.
And this is the thing. They'll pay to get you out of jail if you're a man who's doing crimes against women and girls, and children in general. But like, if any of the daughters got arrested for something, I don't think that it would be the same
correct
grace.
Yeah. And he does, this is what I also thought was a little crazy, that Joe does plead not guilty, but he admitted to it. Interesting.
This is the thing too, like with the justice system in general, right? Is like he and anyone who is accused of a crime, the whole basis of the system is the presumption of innocence. Yes. So until there's a conviction, people do have the presumption of innocence, and it's the bedrock of all of like the legal system. And so like okay, he may have said that he did it on the phone, but it's also, I mean, it's fair for him to make the basis of his legal, argument that he's gonna plead not guilty and try to say that, he wasn't telling the truth on the phone or whatever, because now it's real. Now he could go to jail, so he's gonna try to avoid going to jail. And like, I'm not saying this in any way, shape, or form of saying I don't think he did it or that it's like whatever. It's just, unfortunately, the way that the legal system works is that everyone has to have the presumption of innocence, and everyone has to have the right to the full trial and the full process, or else nobody has it. So as much as I do fully believe that he did these horrible things, and I do hope that he gets a good long sentence and maybe something bad happens to him, I don't know, that is all how I feel. But I'm also like, everyone needs to have access to the a full legal defense, or else nobody does. And so I'm like, okay, he can have his little defense. I don't think that he's gonna get away with it, or he better not.
No, and what folks were saying, 100%, Kirsten, what you just said is that like, it's not necessarily like you said, because he's not guilty. It's more that like maybe he can plead out, so to a lesser charge, which is why you kind of need to put not guilty. So I just thought that was interesting, and in case folks were like confused as to like why he maybe put in a not guilty charge, even though he already admitted to it basically on camera. So not on camera, on the phone. So that happened. Now this is where I have lost it, because they have put out the phone calls between him and his wife, and
Lord,
I am so fascinated because we know Anna, which is Josh's, again, the first brother's wife, is still with him. They're still together even though he's in jail, blah blah blah. So they put out the call, and I was fascinated by these calls, like just as a sociologist, psychology perspective, because like the way they talk about it, first of all, they sound like Kendra sounds like a teenager, kind of like giggling, and it could be nervous giggles. I get it. But if my husband was in jail for pedophilia, he would never like I'm like the roadrunner, right? Like he don't even see the dust.
You're hearing from my lawyer.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. So I wanted to highlight a few things, but basically it's like a lot of yada, yada, yada on the calls. But it's the way that they're chatting. She is like, it's so obvious their power dynamic, where it seems like she's still looking for validation from him. Like at the end of one of the calls, she's like, "Do you still love me?" She asks him, mind you. And the biggest thing is, so they're like talking, and then Joe is like asking about their daughter, and said like, she said something kind of cute, is what Kendra says in her statement to the police on the child endangerment. matter because they're reading, right, like what their kids said about them. Then Kendra talks about like, well, they took my babies from me, and sounds like some of the children, the kids are not with her at the moment, but the way she talks about it is like, she's like, I look up at the stairs and I miss you and I miss the kids, Bob. Like that's how she's talking. And then Kendra apparently told the police, like, hey, I'm going to make some changes, quote unquote, which is like, I'm going to remove the locks probably. Then she's like, again, talking about like stuff that you would think someone talks about, right? Like, hey, I how are you doing? I miss you, blah, 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 right? This is at the same time. He goes, well, I have found a new Bible, a new version to read. While she's like, I miss you. I'm breaking down every night. I'm taking Benadryl to sleep. And they what's known as like they read, I believe, the King James version of the Bible. But he said, hey, I found like another version. I don't want to mess up what exactly the version is. So I'm not going to say. But he goes, this new version has like devotions on the side. I really like it. And it's like helping me, through this because God is helping me through this. No, you're the devil. What do you mean God is helping you? So he's having that conversation. And she's like, oh, are you like changing on me now? And he's like, what? No. And she's like, oh, I'm just messing with you. I'm teasing you. Yes.
And that's like, so did she also grow up under the eye?
Oh, yeah.
So it's like
there's a lot of drama with her dad hates Jim Bob.
And
but not for like the reason, like not for right.
Yeah, not for the reasons that like he should be hated.
Yes.
Kind of vibe. Yeah. And see, that's the thing where like, so I'm like, okay, we know how sick that whole like situation is. So I'm inclined to be like, oh, this woman has also been like horrifically abused in her life in some way. Like we obviously don't know the details, but it's like to be in a position where you're even marrying like one of the Duggars, especially marrying one of the boys, it ain't good.
Yeah. And again, like she does also say like, hey, I want you to know that like the kids are my first priority. This is my lawyer, not our lawyer. So they were like, glimmers of like hope in there, like hope for her to maybe get out of the situation. And maybe it's just too new for her at this moment, but I can't see that because her dad and mom have like alienated people because they have been divorced. So I don't know that.
Yeah, so it just makes it tough because there's the whole like religious element to it that makes it.
And where can she go? She maybe has a high school education. If that, like the whole point of this is like to get these women to kind of, be subservient and be under the eye. And her dad, Joe, gifted her parents and their multiple kids their house because he couldn't afford it. And like because the church, like he's a pastor, so his church wasn't doing so well after Jim Bob and the Duggars left the church. So Joe ends up like gifting his house to them, or maybe at like a nominal fee, giving it to them. And Kendra doesn't really like let the Duggars like look after their kids necessarily. So that's why I find it very interesting that now things have, flipped and she's back for the Duggars. And there's even a moment where she says like, okay, my kids, like the parents are going to move out of this house. Like I'm going to make sure they leave. Which is to me, again, feels like, oh, that must be a Jim Bob, thing to say like, you got to cut your parents off. Enough of this shit. If you want our help, basically.
That's the whole dynamics of how that family works are so crazy.
Yep. And then she also says, everybody loves you even if they're disappointed. No. Bitch, why are we acting like he like ran a red light?
Yeah, exactly. Like this is extremely, extremely serious. This is not a minor like crime. Like this is like horrible.
Yeah. And she's like, constantly like, talking, rambling, obviously ranting, crying. And he's just like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And just like she sounds like she's in the middle of like a breakdown. And he is like, uh-huh. So my I have this, roommate that is like, and I quote, he goes, yeah, I like, I'm trying to read the Bible, I'm doing this, that, and third. And then this guy's like throwing a lot of tantrums. He just got booked. This guy that he's either sharing a cell with, or maybe like the next cell over.
Yeah.
And and I quote, he actually said this. I'm not joking. He goes, yeah, he like throwing a lot of tantrums, which is pretty entertaining, but he's pretty vulgar. You touched a kid. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, it's so entertaining that this grown man is obviously like suffering mentally, but I hate the language that he uses.
Yeah.
Please.
It's disgusting. So that's really like what's happening. And again, it just doesn't seem like he really asks her about how she's doing.
Well, we know like he doesn't care how she's doing.
Yeah. It's just, to me, was like a really interesting look into like actually how their dynamics, and not just this marriage, right? Like in general, how their dynamics work. And you can tell that the women are so emotionally, financially dependent on them and their families. And I was just like, what the like, this is crazy. And they're just like, this whole situation is gonna make us closer to God, blah blah blah. But they were very guarded because they knew it was a recorded line, so they could only really talk about like basic shit. But woof.
This is gonna make us
like rattled me.
Closer to God, please.
Yeah.
Ain't no God involved in any of that.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, it's so hard to sleep in jail. And she's like, oh, why is he in jail? Let's not forget.
But the point you made too of like, where is she supposed to go is like, yeah, because I mean, at best she would have a high school education. She probably doesn't even have that with like all the homeschooling. So like, she's just now trapped and like,
yeah. It's just, it's crazy. And like, again, they like, are since young age are kind of like brought up to be this kind of person, right? Like,
yeah.
So like this kind of like, you have to be under your husband's eye, right? All of that stuff. It's just, it's disgusting. Again, I just like the phone calls and her getting charged was like the craziest part of it all.
Yeah.
And he's like smiling in one of his pictures. Like,
of course he is.
Yeah.
Of course he is. Like, that's what these like free, and especially because like of the like notoriety from being part of a TLC show. It's like, oh, I will get away with this. Like, I can get away with things. And like, especially after like his brother got a pretty light sentence considering the severity of what he had been doing and his online activity. Like, yeah, they think they can get away with it.
Yeah, it's just so gross.
I think as well, just like with their placement in the church as well, that's like another reason why they think like, I can get away with anything.
And they have been allowed to, right? Like the whole women have to like act, a certain way. Women have to censor themselves and edit themselves. Why? Because of for the men, so that they're not like tempted.
Exactly. It's just like that constant thing that we see when we talk about like any of these more extreme religion / cults, right? Like we're about to talk about a little bit more Secret Lives of Mormon Wives stuff, and it's like it's not the same, but it's like different flavor of a similar situation. So it's sad.
Yeah, it's horrible. But yeah, that's the Duggar update / rant.
You know what? It feels good to get off my chest.
It's
actually
crazy.
Okay, so now we're just gonna run through some quick kind of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives
Yes.
drama updates. Obviously we went into like a lot of stuff
I
last
know.
week, but there's still like more. Like I have now officially seen all of season 4 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and like I don't think we need to do a full season recap of it because
Yeah.
literally 95% of it is all what we've already talked about in the Dakota Taylor dynamic. Like to the point where I finished it yesterday and Josh goes, well, why can't they just continue this show without Taylor? And I was like, how many episodes would this season have been without the Taylor of it all? Like 95%
And we know from
of the
season
show.
3, it was like a bit boring, right? We were just like,
Mhm.
okay, enough with the Marciano, or season 2, sorry.
No, that
enough
was season
with- No,
3.
season 3, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's
enough with the Marciano, blah blah blah.
It's like most of the people, I've been saying it since season 1, Taylor and Whitney are the only ones with any level of star power, and so when you don't have that, there's not much of a show. So we'll see if season 5 actually ends up coming out ever or not. But anyway, unrelated to this, so we do know now that Jesse and Jordan are getting divorced, and we found out from Jesse on Call Her Daddy that they had agreed that they would go file together, and he went rogue and filed while she was in LA to record Call Her Daddy, and she found out from TMZ that divorce papers had been filed, even though they had agreed to do it together. And again, she's the one who asked him for a divorce after he like was trying to blackmail her and then like pulled out his phone to film her to be like, oh, are you like Taylor? Are you like Taylor? Now that it's official that they're getting divorced, allegedly Jesse kissed Chase, who, if people are wondering, that's Miranda's ex-husband. I don't think she actually did. I think that they're trying to get season 5 of the show renewed by whatever means possible. Because like Miranda posted that she'd gotten flowers from Jesse that were like, I'm so sorry. And then Miranda posted another TikTok where she's like putting on her makeup, or she's like, oh, yet another like friend like hooking up with my ex-husband. Like,
and it just feels so like it doesn't feel like, oh, this is like a big deal as a
no.
And again, just the way they like head to social media, right, for everything.
And but it's what they do as well. Like even in the most recent season, Taylor finds out that Dakota had hooked up with this girl, Shania, which the day that she hooked up with Dakota, she was talking to Taylor about how her boyfriend, who was married to someone else, like decided like to not leave their wife. Like crazy stuff. She filmed a TikTok with Taylor, and then Taylor finds out that she hooked up with Dakota that night. So then Taylor posted a TikTok where she's like, unfortunately, I have learned that the woman in the middle like slept with my baby daddy after complaining to me about her ex who's a married man. It's like they go straight to social media with everything, and everyone really judges Taylor for doing it, but they all do it too. So it's interesting in that way. But like Miranda does it in a different way. Like Miranda really to me is like head and shoulders above all of the drama, even when she's in the middle of it. Like she just comes across so reasonable.
But they need money, right? Like
they need the money.
This has to move forward.
Yeah, like the show has presented so much more opportunities for all of them that it just doesn't like I think it's very clear they're all trying to figure out how to get season 5 filming again and get season 5 actually released so that it's not more lost media. Dakota was announced to be on some sort of like Alex Cooper YouTube TV show, which I'm guessing is a version of House of Villains because it's like Dakota and Huda and like it's insane. Wild for him to get opportunities on TV at this point in time. I'm sorry, it's crazy.
It's just like it's Alex Cooper. Yeah, I put like Alex Earl before, but it's just she I think came out, or her people saying like, hey, this all happened before you know, before like we knew all this stuff. So that's the caveat, but it's to me very funny how Huda and Dakota, you know, get to kind of come back.
It's Huda has had so many situations that have come up since last summer on Love Island, and like to the point where there's people with restraining orders against her, to the point where someone called Alondria the N-word to her and she laughed. Like just
and she
stuff.
like the text allegedly she sent her, are they together, her ex question mark
Well,
that
with
guy, like,
Louis.
yeah,
Well, and that's the Louis, Huda, and the mother of Louis' baby stuff is like very weird because I do feel like he positions himself between the two women at all times, and
Yep.
like he like sends the stuff to the mother of his child to get the restraining order from Huda, but then he's still with Huda allegedly. So like that's a weird dynamic that I don't know enough about to actually speak on. But what I do know is that time and time again, Huda has the option to do something that's really shitty or the option to not do that thing. And she seems to always do the thing. And like, if you guys can go back to the Love Island USA season 7 coverage, I feel like I was actually very soft on Huda a lot. I was like, she seems to be really unwell. Like she needs help. Like I don't feel comfortable to just say, oh, she's a bad person based on her activity on the show. Like, but everything since then, it's just been proven. Like I pride myself on being someone where when I learn more information, I change my opinion to match the information that I've learned. And so Huda getting more TV experience, like opportunities, is crazy. Dakota even being a full-time cast member on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is crazy. Because guess what? He's not entertaining. Like, why is he there? Why are any of the men on this show?
And why are they such a big deal? That's why I'm like more hesitant to watch this season, is because like I heard like the men are
the start of the season was hard to get into, especially the first like 2 to 3 episodes, because the men were like really in it. But after that, there was a lot more to the season. The craziest part of it all, which like, and I don't think we're gonna do like a full recap of the season, so I'll just get my opinions out here, is like one of the craziest things is Jen and how Jen is acting in this season. So like even from the start, they have where all of the Mom Talk people came to go watch them on the premiere of Dancing with the Stars and cheer them on. And Whitney is in her confessionals. It means so much to me that all of the women are coming to support me and Jen. I'm so excited for me and Jen to be on Dancing with the Stars. This is great. And Jen is in the confessional. I'm so glad the woman came to support me on Dancing with the Stars. Dancing with the Stars is my dream. It's all about me. And then it culminates, Sasha, in Connor tells Zach about Whitney getting the role in Chicago on Broadway, and Zach tells Jen. And then Jen says nothing to Whitney. So when Whitney finally like sees her, it's like, oh, by the way, like it's finally official. I can tell you I got this role on Broadway. Like the papers are signed. Jen's like, oh yeah, I knew. And Whitney's like, well,
oh my God,
we see each other every day. Why didn't you say anything about it? Like, that's kind of weird. How long have you known? She's like, oh, like since last week. And then Jen is basically like, oh, well, I just like don't think we're friends. So like, I don't really feel the need to like whatever. And then she tries to act as if Whitney has never been a friend to her when Whitney was the only one who stood up for her when all of the other women were like mad at her for not going on trips, who like did just like stayed and did the dishes and like helped take care of her house when she was really struggling with her postpartum and prenatal depression. I'm not sure what the term is, but like she was like the only one who actually like stood up for Jen and defended Jen and like to me was a true friend to her. And then Jen is like, well, you're friends with Demi, so like we're not friends. And I think that's fair, but it's the fact that she had never said that then. And so then Whitney like kind of gets mad. She's like, okay, well, like we're not friends then. Well, like fuck you, like whatever. And then Jen takes that as opportunity to be like, oh, Whitney's the worst. Did you see how she talked to me? Like she's so crazy. And Whitney is like wants to reach out and talk to her and even sends a voice note apologizing for yelling and being upset. Zach shows up instead and starts berating Whitney. And it's just like, God, it's so crazy how Jen has like such an allegiance to the people who've treated her so shit.
I think it's just what's the I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to say it, but yeah, I think the problem sometimes is like folks can like use the person that helped them to kind of get in with the in crowd. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I think the biggest part about it, is because a lot of this was filming during the Dancing with the Stars part where people kind of turned on Whitney because of season 3 where she only did it to get on. And so I think Jen thought I can gain popularity by shitting on Whitney because Whitney's not popular. And that's blown up in her face because Whitney's way more popular than her. Even to the point, like, they asked the girls in confessional, like, well, if you had to pick one, Whitney or Jen, who would you pick? And they said Whitney. Like,
see, embarrassing.
Even Michaela and Whitney are friends again now in season 4. So it's just really
well, because they have to be. Whitney's the new HBIC.
Which, and as she has been, I've been since day 1. I've never changed up on her. Never.
Yes, like I said, you're the only person I'll allow, but yuck.
Yeah, because you know what? I saw the vision from day 1, and
and this is a balanced podcast.
Yeah, you're allowed to like or not like someone. Like, it's
Oh no, we love it.
It would be so crazy if I was like, no, you have to like Whitney because I like Whitney,
or for me to be like, you have to hate her.
Well, that'd be so crazy because I've liked her from day 1.
Exactly.
I was there. I'm not new to this. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
But yeah. Okay. I think I've gotten out my rant on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Thank you for giving me this platform to say that because like, it's such a crazy show. The other thing too is everyone is constantly talking about like someone needs to hold this person accountable. This person needs to be accountable. This person needs to take accountability. And I'm like, I don't think any of these people actually know what taking accountability is, because like someone can have apologized, said they know they're wrong and they're going to do differently in the future. And everyone be like, she's not being accountable. It's like, well,
they just like to use words. Bless them.
None of them know what it means. Accountable is their favorite word, and none of them know how to use it correctly. But that's fine. Okay,
correct.
Are you ready for an Anonymous?
Yes. Oh my god, it's been so long.
We haven't had an Anonymous on the show in a while because it's just been so many kind of off-cycle shows or hard outs. But we've got one today. It's just a short one. It's not particularly juicy, but I thought that it was a really kind of sweet story. And our messenger, they even say, I don't know if this is juicy enough, but I just thought it was a funny situation looking back. And I agree. So our messenger is telling us a story from when they were in the 7th grade.
I love it. Yes.
So at the end of, sorry, Siri's talking to me. And so at the end of 7th grade, our messenger was pulled into a meeting with teachers and given a gift. And now we'll give some context for the gift. So our messenger had just moved across the country and come from 2 different schools. Each school had like uniforms for the dress code. It wasn't like full-on emblems of the school crest type of uniform. It was just kind of like slacks and polos in the school colors. So like maroon polo, white polo, navy polo, black polo kind of situation with slacks is just like, that was a school uniform at the last 2 schools. And so they say, when I moved back to a new school that didn't have a strict dress code, my undiagnosed ass just kept wearing the uniform because those are my school clothes. Right? So it's like, funny. They're 12 and they're like, this is what I wear to school.
Yeah,
I wear slacks and I wear the polo shirts. This is it. So our messenger also did wear the same sweatshirt all winter because it was their first full winter. And they would just keep it on all day, not really thinking much of it. They do want to clarify everything was washed weekly and like everything was in good shape except the sweatshirt got a little worn down because in art class a kid tried to stab their hand and cut thumb holes in one sleeve, so it started to fray the cuff. They say it's not actually that exciting of a story, but like the sweatshirt had like a little bit of fraying, but other than that everything was in like good condition. It wasn't shabby. They just like basically wore their uniform to school when the school didn't have a uniform anymore.
Real.
So the teachers pull this student into a room at the end of the 7th grade, and they explain to him that they get donations from parents that they use for kids that are going through a hard time and help those kids out where they see fit. So they had gone to Aeropostale and gotten 2 new polos to add to this kid's wardrobe so that he would have a little bit more choice to wear.
Oh my God.
Our messenger says, I awkwardly thanked them with full confusion and embarrassment because I wasn't aware that I was a struggling student. And I most certainly didn't care about my wardrobe because I had a lot of fun shirts that I would wear on the weekends. And they think they only wore the Aeropostale shirts like 2 or 3 times because all that interaction did was tell him that he needed to not wear his old school uniforms to school anymore.
Oh my God.
And the funniest part is he actually changed schools the next year because they'd been living with their aunt for the 7th grade year, so until his mom could get a place on her own. So like he never saw those teachers again. Obviously he knows they were trying to be nice and sweet, but like it didn't feel like that in the moment, and it made him feel self-conscious in a way he hadn't previously.
Wow.
I just think this is so crazy because I think it's really good for teachers to have access to funds to like help kids that are going through like a harder time. But I don't know. I think it like if someone just wears the same clothes all the time, but it's clean and it's in good condition, I don't really think that counts as like going through a hard time. Like if he did it, like if he had shoes that don't fit or like had to like was clearly growing out of clothes and didn't have replacements that fit, like to me that's a very different situation. And I also feel like it should kind of maybe go through the parents of like, hey, here's like a new pair of sneakers for your kid because like his shoes are like don't have a sole anymore.
Or I think it's worth like having a conversation at least, right? Like with the family to be like, hey, what's going on? How can I help? Like I'm thinking X, Y, and Z, you know, and in this situation obviously it was this, but this is what I'm thinking. So can we do that?
Well, because I think as well, it just goes to show like people with good hearts who want to help sometimes aren't actually being helpful. Like they think they're like, it's like you can't just assume what other people need. You kind of need to have more input. Like if they had just talked to him once and been like, hey, we noticed you wear like the same thing all the time. Like why is that? I think like they could have gotten like, oh, these are my school clothes, and then realize like, oh, this kid just is maybe a little bit different, which is fine.
That's exactly what I was thinking about, where it was just like, we like, is there a way for them to work together? I was like, how do we fix this for you so you're not struggling, or are you even struggling? Again, that's the point, because we have enough information in this world on like, right, like, hey, we have enough stuff to say like, how do we do this, right? Like folks have folks are on the spectrum, and this could be that issue. I'm just saying like there's enough.
Yeah, and we don't know. Messenger says undiagnosed. Like, we don't know with what. Like could be autism spectrum, could be ADHD, could be both, could be anything.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just like we just have enough like info that like, hey, it could be that you can't just like I feel personally make that decision.
I feel like I'm like, okay, well, so were other kids like talking behind our messenger's back, and like he didn't even know that they were doing that, and so the teachers are like, oh, we're gonna save this kid from the like gossip that he didn't even know was happening.
Yep.
So strange. Well, I thought this was a very sweet story because I actually really like the idea of like just wearing his school uniform because he's like, oh, these are my school clothes. I get that.
God, that's so fun. And like again, I went to school in India, right? Like where all of this was kind of like we did have uniforms and life was a little bit easier.
Well, and so for when you went to a school with uniforms, was it like very clearly a school uniform with like emblems and stuff, or was it more like he's describing?
No, that's what I mean. Like it was a little bit more, so I like understand why it could be hard, but it's very funny, like to me, that teachers can just decide.
Yeah, so weird.
I love it. Bless.
Okay, well, that's our episode. Our first like regular episode back. We've missed you. We're so glad you're back, Sasha. We love you.
I'm so happy to be back. And again, thank you for holding it down.
Yes. At the end of this month, I might need to take a week or two.
Yeah,
off
I was
just
gonna say
there's other stuff going on, but like not yet. So we'll figure it out. That's the most beautiful. Oh, perfect. I love that. Yeah, the most beautiful part of Mess Magnets is that we're a wonderful partnership, and
Period.
so we've got each other's backs, and I love that.
Yes, and thank you to everyone for listening.
Yes. Sasha, do you have anything else you want to point out to the people?
No, that's it for now.
Yeah,
What
me
about
too.
you? Yes, I know.
At the end of this month, Temptation Island will be coming out mid-month, and Love Island Beyond the Villa is coming back, and there will be coverage of that over on We Know Love Island and Hot Dummies on Islands. But as of right now, we're chilling. So if you wanted to go to youtube.com/@mess.magnets or patreon.com/messmagnets, we deeply appreciate that. We will come back and do Summer Return Pretty Season 3 very soon. We promise. We are committed. We love y'all. Thank you so much for listening.
Bye.
We will see you next time. Bye.